Okay, so I just finished watching Malignant a few minutes ago, literally. It says it's free on Tubi, but it's not. That's a different one in like 2019. But it's on HBO Max for a whole month. I guess that's how it works. And it's directed by James Wan, and the story is by him and a few other people. And the music is by a dude who also did music for at least the first Conjuring. Um, Although I think he also did for the second and third. The third I didn't like as much. Yeah, he did the music for that one. I thought that one was like decent, like amount of good, I guess. Like it was good, but not on the level of the first two. And I'm kind of the same opinion of this movie, I guess. Um, it's good, but I don't know. Like towards the end, there's the twist that's really cool, but also doesn't make as much sense, I guess. Among other things, obviously, but still. But I'll get into that later in the spoiler section. It'll be kind of brief. And yeah, I'll probably have a time code and stuff. But the point is, basically, this is about this lady who has a kind of mysterious past that she's kind of like tried to forget about. All she knows is that she was like adopted because her real family, like they kind of left her, among other things, obviously, but it's learned later on. And so she's plagued by these shocking visions of these murders, but it turns out that they're actually real, and she's, I believe, experiencing them in real time from the perspective of like just an outside person and just seeing this killer kill him. So she basically has to figure out what's going on along with these police officers who are kind of suspicious of her, among other things, and kind of has to reconnect with her past, basically. So I'll get on with the good stuff I like, I guess. So for one, it's definitely shot very well. Like there's this whole sequence in like the house where like she's running away. It's kind of like the top down. I don't know if it's bird's eye view. Like I'll actually check. Yeah, I guess it is technically in bird's eye view. Where she's like running throughout the house because there's like an intruder and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool as well shot. Like it was pretty cool. And entertaining, something new. The overall directing of this movie is very competent. It looks good. Like all the, I don't know if the tracking shots, I don't know exactly what he used, but they kind of like go around. It's very cool. And the way he shoots these scenes, like there's one person who's about to be killed, and you think the killer's gonna come up from like the bed and like grab the dude, but turns out it's not that. It's actually something different. So that when you've probably seen it, like the trailers, when she's sleeping. That's when she like gets transported to the murder, and you see the dude going through the window, kill her. Yes, it's a dude. I guess it's revealed later on. Go and like stab him. So that was kind of a subversion. It was an interesting one, I guess. I mean, I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't be from the bread, so at least there's that. Like, it wasn't like so cliched. And the film does it a few times. Like, you know, things is going this way, but it's a different way. And there's some pretty good jump scares, although the film isn't really too scary. I'll get into that later. I like the cop. So there's like this scene where like he's the main cop, or one of the cops, because there's two. Like the male one, I forget the dude's name, played by George Young, chasing the killer, and even like I'm pretty sure breaks his ribcage while he falls into a dumpster. Like actually, like it hits like his ribcage. It should have messed it up, but I guess it doesn't for some reason. I don't know why, but basically he's chasing the killer who's like contorting. It'll be explained why. It looks like he's contorting, and he is. But I'll get into that later. But yeah, he's chasing him, and he's pretty determined. Unlike most cops, at least in movies, where it seems like, oh, just back up, and then, you know, gets away. Like, the killer still gets away, but, like, he chases the killer, like, through the apartment, down into this area with all these, like, cars and stuff. So he's pretty determined, and I like that. Like, he was actually, like, determined and didn't just easily give up or didn't just die in a really stupid way like cops seem to do in horror movies. Although, apparently, there seems to be some movies that don't have that. I mean, it's fine if they die in a movie as long as it has a good reason and it makes sense and isn't dumb. So, at least there's that. Yeah, he was pretty determined. That was cool. He wasn't just like some dumb cop that like slipped on some blood or some shit. So that was cool. I think the design for the kill is really cool. It's basically kind of like body horror, and that was really cool. I don't want to reveal what the killer looks like. Just watch the movie for yourself, even if you freaking torrent it. Although honestly, just watch it on HBO Max or something like that. Like if you haven't, literally just watch it. Like it's a good freaking movie, but just watch it even if you torrent it. Although I don't why did you do that? Because just actually watch the movie. Just at least watch it for yourself so you actually know what happens. Don't like watch those fucking movie recap videos, which I hate that they're getting popular. They're just retelling the movie with an annoying AI voice, and that's it. Like, they're getting popular, and they're just like ruining getting movies. Like, I watched one for Odd Thomas, but I stopped like 5 minutes in. And I'm just gonna be like, I just watched the movie. I was like, I'm gonna watch the movie. Sorry, sometimes I stumble, but yeah, those channels are weird. I don't know why they're getting popular. Just like, watch the fucking movie. Like, do you have the attention span of a squirrel? Just watch the movie. And this movie was entertaining. Like, yeah, it's nearly 2 hours long, but it was entertaining. Like, kept me intrigued, and the twist was like, holy shit. Like, I believe, in trailers where they're like, like, the critics say this, like, like in quotes, like, oh, this is amazing. One of them said jaw-dropping, and it kind of did make my jaw drop. Like, it was actually pretty surprising. Like, I guess technically it's predictable in a way. Like, you could actually predict it would happen because there are clues leading up to it. But it was still cool. A lot of the kills are very unique, and they're very bloody. Like, you would not think that this movie would have a high body count, but it fucking does. Like, in the beginning, there's a bunch of people that killed, and throughout the movie, there's a few people, but then at the very end, there's like this whole scene in like a prison, and like a fuck ton of people die, like 20 to 30, if not more. This movie has a pretty high kill count, so even if you don't, like, even if you come into this movie and you're a bit disappointed about like the story and stuff like that, at least there's a high body count. That's kind of cool, I guess. It's mainly towards the beginning, mainly towards the end, actually, but still. Yeah, it consistently kept me entertained, and I was actually really interested to hear what the backstory of the killer was. Unlike most killers, like, I don't really give a shit. Especially when I learn, I'm like, this isn't interesting, but the backstory for the killer is actually pretty interesting. It was just cool. And honestly, maybe just watch the movie for that. Like, the backstory for the killer is pretty interesting. And it kept me intrigued. The mystery was pretty cool. It wasn't like some boring side plot where I'm like, oh, really, we have to go back to this. The police side plot, I mean, it's kind of like a brief side plot that eventually intercepts the main plot. And the cops are alright. I mean, I'll get into a bit of a flaw that I have, I guess. Kind of, I'm not exactly sure because based on the twist and stuff like that, but I'll get into that. But yeah, the kills were cool, the backstory was entertaining. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. It's consistently entertaining. It is creepy in moments. It's got a nice inversion, really cool kills, and all that stuff. But I'll get into my flaws, which goes with the spoilers. So if you don't want to get it spoiled, either just stop watching now. I might even put a time code. I will try to, like, for when, like, it ends. I'll probably say, like, okay, spoilers done. But yeah. Alright. So basically, it's revealed that Gabriel's like a parasitic twin of Madison, and how they like literally live conjoined together, and like Gabriel was dependent on her, and like all the hallucinations of like the kills and stuff like that. Turns out technically she was kind of doing. I mean, they lived in the same body, and even after they tried to get rid of Gabriel, they couldn't fully get rid of her. So it's not like how did he get back into her body? Because like they noted in the film, had they gotten rid of him completely, it would have probably killed her because they were like so conjoined. Like they didn't separate, like during the not conception, but like kind of like the birth, they didn't separate. So like they were basically the same person. So had they been fully removed, she would have either died or had massive brain trauma and stuff like that. So that's a pretty good reason why. And so all the hallucinations and stuff, and like her just being in her bed, not actually being part of the kill. Technically she was, I mean, she didn't actually commit the kills, but still, it turns out that, like, while he was technically underdeveloped, the underdeveloped twin of the two, underdeveloped one of the two, he still could technically play mind tricks on her, making her think that she was in this place, basically placing her in a mental prison. So when, like, there was a scene in the prison where Gabriel technically goes ham on all these fucking people, to her, it seems like she's just sitting there. So, like, throughout the film, all the hallucinations, she's not watching from, like, just that sitting place where she's just, like, looking on. No, she would technically be behind, because, like, he lives at the back of her head. So, like, they've just been mental prisons and stuff like that, and all the things of, like, oh, the intruder, like, of getting into her house and stuff like that, it's not real because he didn't have to get into her house. He just had to get into her mind, that's all. But he was already in it, because apparently he fed on, like, she apparently had 4 miscarriages. 3 previous one in the beginning of this movie. So So he basically used them to feed on himself and grow stronger. So I guess he didn't really have to go into her mind. He was already kind of there, but he had to like gain more power to actually come back, and like come back through the back of her head. And so yeah, it turns out that so she's kind of part of it, I guess. The one problem I have is that the cop lady believes that she did the murders, even after she's had a miscarriage, got her head bashed in, and after the cop sees like the killer contorting and stuff like that. Like technically, yes, that's the same body, but Gabriel must have some independent strength, just independent to him. And like it's just kind of weird because they wouldn't have known that at the time. Like you would think like a person with a miscarriage and all that stuff would not be strong enough to do that. So I guess that's maybe kind of a flaw. Like how is Gabriel able to do that with a body that suffered a miscarriage? But I guess he fed upon that to make himself stronger. So technically at the end where like where Madison's friend is like pinned against this hospital thing, she's like, oh, I got the same strength as him basically, so I should be able to lift you up. I'm like, wouldn't that not make sense? Because you didn't feed upon fetuses to make yourself stronger, basically superhuman almost, basically. So I don't know, that's kind of a flaw that doesn't really make too much sense. I don't know why she automatically suspected her. Like, she had a fucking miscarriage and shit. Like, how the hell is someone gonna have... Aren't you really kind of, like, tired and not too strong after birth, I'm going to assume? And, like, your head got bashed in. So, for her to assume that without the evidence doesn't make sense. So that was just kind of weird. And the whole process of the killer coming out, I feel like would kill her because he has to literally come out through the back of her fucking head. And he's, like, part brain, almost like his head kind of looks like a brain and stuff. And he has to basically break her bones. So I'm wondering how the hell she isn't dead yet from the numerous times it's happened. Like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, how the hell would that happen? How is she not dead yet from the sheer amount of times it's happened? Like, it's a cool twist, but it doesn't really make too much sense as soon as you start immediately thinking about it. So, yeah, that didn't make too much sense. But I guess I like the ending, which I'm not sure if it's spoilery, but I guess, it's the ending, so it's usually spoilery. She, like, regains control, and when Gabriel regains control of the mind, I mean, she reveals that to him after she's regained control, obviously. So when he thinks he killed Madison's friend and Madison's actual birth mother, because they located her, and, yeah, I guess, Gabriel, like, strung her up and hated her, because, she tried to get rid of her. She tried to get rid of him. The mother tried to, like, be nice to him and be like, I should have never gotten rid of you. He still continued. But the point is, even though Gabriel, thinks he kills those two, he actually hasn't, because she placed him basically in a mental prison. And the ending's kind of cool. I mean, it's not super duper scary, but at least it's not like some dumb shit that doesn't make sense. Like, she fully regained control, she's regained control of her own body and stuff like that. So that was cool. I don't know if it's character arc, I don't know. So that was kind of a cool ending, like placing him in like an actual mental prison. I don't know if they need to actually show the prison because like subtlety got out the window, guys, or whatever. But that was kind of cool. I just feel like she realistically would have died. I don't know. That shit would be like so painful after the amount of times it happens. But yeah, that was kind of cool. Like, basically using his trick on him. So that was kind of cool. But yeah. Okay, spoiler over. So yeah, those are my problems with the film. And yeah, I guess that's kind of what I think of the film overall. So it also isn't super duper scary. So that's kind of not a huge problem. It's got some intense moments, but still not super duper scary. But overall, I'd give this film a B. Either a B or B minus. So I'm gonna say B for now. But I enjoyed it. I think you should watch it. And I had a fun time watching it. The twist was cool, but as I say in the flaws part, doesn't make too much sense. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.